Americans say Trump needs to eliminate welfare for illegals. Do you agree? Even though the left pushes open borders propaganda nonstop, it appears the majority of Americans haven't been fully brainwashed yet. The media spends a lot of time leading us to believe that there's huge support for all things immigration, but in fact, the data says otherwise. The nation of immigrants line is often thrown out as a catch-all defense for immigration, but that's an asinine and contextless statement that has been misused ad nauseam. According to the polls, the American people are actually far more in line with Trump's policies than many think. As reported at Breitbart, in a new Rasmussen poll, 62% of likely voters said they support barring new immigrants to the U.S. from receiving welfare benefits for at least 5 years, which is a policy that Trump mentioned in a recent speech. Most likely to support the ban are middle-class Americans making $30,000 to $50,000, with 72% in favor. Even those who describe themselves as moderates support it at a rate of 61%. This poll indicates that Americans don't want just any immigration, but those that are capable and willing to work without handouts. Questions about illegal immigration were also asked for the poll, and the results are definitive. Those who support the policy forcing those seeking welfare to prove they're a U.S. citizen and here legally stood at 76%, while only 17% opposed the idea. Once again, the middle class was the most supportive of banning illegals from receiving any type of welfare, with 80% favoring the plan. Another revealing poll was recently conducted in Missouri as well. It shows that more than 60% of likely midterm voters said they wanted to see a reduction in legal immigration to the U.S., opposing the current 1.5 million legal immigrant allotment per year. So there you have it. Overwhelming proof that the vast majority of Americans are in favor of Trump's supposedly hateful and bigoted immigration policies. But the left will never let the public know that such broad support exists, as they'll keep pretending that Trump's policies are radical and not who we are as a nation. They feed us the same tired lines, especially the nation of immigrants one. As if that's some kind of excuse to never consider changing policies in the first place. Just because something was done a particular way in the past, it doesn't mean it has to be that way forever. Our immigration system has long been broken. No illegals should be allowed to stay, and the legal limit should be significantly lowered. Especially considering the economic hardships facing real Americans already. Throwing in more people to compete for the meager scraps that are out there won't solve anything. We need drastic reform, and we need it now. And the man to accomplish this is Trump. Justin Shep Smith gets bad news after slandering Donald Trump on Fox News. Shep Smith is known for being arguably the most anti-Donald Trump host left at Fox News. However, many Fox News fans are calling for him to be fired this week, as they feel he took things too far with his latest attack on Donald Trump Jr. Conservative 101 reported that Donald Jr. found himself in hot water this week after it was reported that he had met with a Russian lawyer during the election in the hopes of getting dirt on Hillary Clinton. He responded to this controversy by releasing his email thread with the lawyer in an attempt to head off the inevitable attack from liberal New York Times. Though many took this move to mean that Donald Jr. had nothing to hide, Smith tried to present it differently on his Fox News program. While talking to Associated Press reporter Julie Bykowicz's about Donald Jr.'s emails, Smith said, his transparency came minutes before he had been made aware that the New York Times would be publishing the same emails this released. Is that correct? Bykowicz responded to say that this was indeed true. So transparency is something that normally happens prior to learning that somebody else is about to document dump you. Normally that word wouldn't be used in this circumstance, Smith said. Each change in explanation happened after the New York Times brought out more of this information. Their story changes happen every time the Times brings out more relevant information. Twitter users weren't having any of Smith's nonsense. Share this story if you think Fox News should fire Shep Smith. Peyton Manning golfed with the president, and delivered a message to critics who said he shouldn't. On Tuesday night, Recently retired NFL quarterback Peyton Manning went on Jimmy Kimmel Live to talk about golfing with President Donald Trump. Show host Jimmy Kimmel wanted to know how Manning ended up golfing with the president. "They knew I was in town. The White House called and said, 'Hey, the president would like to play golf with you on Sunday, are you available?' I got to tell you, Jimmy, I had a lot of people tell me not to do it," Manning said. Then Kimmel asked Manning, who stated that he shouldn't golf with the commander-in-chief. To which the former NFL star replied, "You did." Manning continued, "I heard Arnold Palmer say one time, if the President of the United States ever asks you to play golf, you do it, it's a no-brainer. And it was a fantastic experience. Rode in the motorcade over there and I've never felt safer playing golf. We had 30 golf carts behind us. Felt safe, but he was a great host. He loves sports. And we passed through a number of groups. He was very gracious. He took a picture with groups that we passed through." Then Manning made it clear that it would have been almost un-American to not accept Trump's invitation to golf with him. Manning told Kimmel that he has played golf with President George W. Bush before. And that he would accept an invitation to play with Hillary Clinton or President Barack Obama if the opportunity ever presented itself. Kimmel wanted to know more, though. So he tried a gotcha question on Manning: "Did he cheat? Did he cheat when you played?" Manning fired back, "No, I counted his strokes. He played it honest." Manning revealed that he played on a team with Trump, and they beat their opponent. He wasn't falling into any traps to make his interview a partisan slagfest. Deep trouble, British spy points at McCain in Russia-Trump fake dossier case. Liberal Republican John McCain, who has been anti-Trump since day one, appears to be in deep trouble for his involvement in the fake Russian dossier that sought to smear President Trump. McClatchy DC reported, Senator John McCain faces questions in a defamation lawsuit about leaks leading to publication of the now infamous dossier that alleged Donald Trump's campaign had connections to Russian operatives, McClatchy has learned. The dossier, compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele and his London firm, Orbis Business Intelligence Limited, amounted to a collection of uncorroborated reports of collusion gathered as political research for sale to Trump's opponents. It proved explosive when published by online news site BuzzFeed on January 10. Now, 2 lawsuits, one in the United States and a second in the UK, are being brought by lawyers for Alexej Gudarev, a Cyprus-based internet entrepreneur whom Steele's Russian sources accused of cyber spying against the Democratic Party leadership. According to a new court document in the British lawsuit, counsel for defendants Steele and Orbis repeatedly point to McCain, our Arizona, a vocal Trump critic, and a former State Department official as two in a handful of people known to have had copies of the full document before it circulated among journalists and was published by BuzzFeed. Read the rest of the report here. How is John McCain still an elected official? The majority of people, including Republicans, can't stand him because he is a typical politician who only operates in the best interest of himself. Breaking: a Hollywood star is moving to Canada because of President Trump. Many Hollywood celebrities announced that they will move in another country if Donald Trump won the elections. Well, the elections were held 7 months ago and he won, but no celebrity kept the promise. However, singer Cher may be the first to move to Canada because of the president. As Trump announced he wants to change the Obamacare, she took it to Twitter to express her anger. Via Clear Politics, Cher took to Twitter to blast ACA, saying its passage threatens to cut funding to treat her asthma. https://t.co/gosonss87pic.twitter.com/0fucks34v, Fox News, at Fox News, May 5, 2017. #TrumpCare is survival of the fittest healthcare! Huge a giveaway for the richest 2% of Americans don't believe Republicans, they didn't read Bill. Cher, at Cher, May 5, 2017. Trump had to do healthcare first, because he needed $1 trillion he stole from poor, sick, and dying, to give tax cuts to top 2%, Cher, At Share, May 5, 2017, Share is one of the many leftist famous people who constantly attack President Donald Trump. A lot of those stars have attempted to fit in the world of politics in order to defend themselves, but in most of the cases, they had no significant success, but rather ended up making a fool out of themselves. During the presidential race, a lot of them promised to leave the country if Trump was elected, but not a single one of them stuck to the promised. All they want to achieve is make everyone share the same opinions they do, which is pretty contradictory to their liberal beliefs that everyone has the right of personal opinion, different than the others. On the other hand, the conservative ideology is still widely present across the USA, which makes things even more difficult for them. Apparently, it would have been way better if they all simply moved to Canada. Now, they forgot what their real job is, and they take every chance to bash our president. Americans are beginning to feel nervous about and dislike it. Well, Share, you could buy a one-way ticket and never come back in the United States. Trump makes the decisions whether you like it or not. After all, he's our president. Dem representative introduces articles of impeachment against Trump. Here's everything we know. Democratic Representative Brad Sherman of California introduced articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump Wednesday afternoon. Sherman's move marks the first time in Trump's presidency that a lawmaker has brought forth articles of impeachment against the president. To impeach a president, the House must reach a majority consensus, which is unlikely given that Republicans have a majority. The congressman lists Trump's alleged pressuring of former FBI Director James Comey to drop the investigation into former White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's ties to Russia as his reason for bringing forth the articles. In all of this, Donald John Trump has acted in a manner contrary to his trust as president and subversive of constitutional government, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States, Sherman